Hi, everybody. This is Harvey Kim, the Head of Listings and Business Development Executive at Liquid Group. Today, I'm joined here by Sebastian, who is the COO of Sandbox. Hi, Sebastian. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Hello, Harvey. Hello, everyone at Liquid.
Awesome. Would you like to introduce yourself quickly?
Uh, uh, yes, of course. Hey, everyone. My name is Sébastien Borger. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the Sandbox, a gaming virtual world that we're going to talk a lot more about today. I'm as well the president of the Blockchain Game Alliance, a non-profit organization that regroups over 160 companies in the space, pushing and promoting for the adoption of blockchain within the gaming industry. My background, essentially, I've been a co-founder with my business partner, Archer Madrid, for more than 13 years now. Started in 2007 with our first company. We made 4 in total. Sandbox is our fourth one. First company involved into peer-to-peer technology, one of the very first application of decentralized technology, enabling users to download video on demand, movies, etc., at a lower cost by sharing the bandwidth using peer-to-peer connection. We sold that company after working with all the major TV channels and sport events in France 2 years after. Then we launched a second company, a Web 2.0 company, where users could upload their photo, video, and music in the cloud and stream them from anywhere, much before Netflix or Spotify and other platforms. So I was our first step into user-generated content, and we had dozens of thousands users having a monthly subscription to access the service. So it's been successful, and we sold that company 2 years after. Then in 2011, we started Pixel, a mobile games, free-to-play mobile game studio, which essentially is focusing into turning players into makers, into creators. Mm-hmm. And we've done so with several games. On one side, we had city builder games, which involve IPs, Garfield, Snoopy, the Addams Family, where players could build their own stories and cities involving those characters. They've been largely successful, and games that have been lasted for many years till today, still running and growing. And on the other side, we had our own franchise called the Sandbox, which started in 2011 as a mobile game on iOS and Android, where users could make their own 2D pixel art world just by the touch of their finger on the screen. They could drop water, sand, other type of pixelated elements, play with them, and even involve more gaming related elements, platforms, enemies, heroes, etc., to create mini games that they could share to an online gallery. And it's been a huge success. So we launched a sequel in 2016. In total, we had over 40 million installs of that game, over 1 million monthly active users playing it, and they made close to 70 million creations shared in that online gallery. So a large success in terms of user-generated content. And we sold Pixel to a company called Animoca Brands, a bigger game studios, which were also involved with IPs and brand, and one of the true pioneers in blockchain and NFTs in gaming. So we sold it in 2018, and towards the end of 2017, that's really when we, because we've been always passionate by technology, we already had started to look at blockchain for over a year now. But when CryptoKitty appeared at the end of 2017, we saw immediately the potential of applying NFTs to Sandbox. Instead of having virtual cats made by a developer studio sold as NFT, we thought oh wow, what if we just enable anyone to become an NFT maker, an NFT creator, and use that technology to finally solve one of the key issues that we've been struggling with in Sandbox, which was essentially how do we reward the community and all the creators involved in the platform that build all this awesome content, more than 70 million creation that contributed to the success of Sandbox as a game. And that's really so from there, we created a new entity focused just on Sandbox. We started to build with a new version, a third version of Sandbox, this time 3D, multiplayer, multi-platform, and that use blockchain technology, essentially NFTs, as well as Sand, a token, to empower creators, empower players, enable them to monetize their skills, monetize their creation, and be really rewarded for all the effort and contribution they bring to the platform. And that's where we are today, 3 years after, with Sandbox, with several products already available in beta on our platform, and getting closer and closer to launch at the beginning of next year, the first play to earn experience where players will be involved and be able to earn Sand token.
Awesome. That's very exciting, and thank you so much for the amazing introduction. Just wanted to let you know that I'm personally very excited to have you here on the AMA session and get to know more about your project, Sand. I guess without further ado, let's jump right into the questions. We've compiled some of the questions from the communities about the Sandbox, and we have some amazing questions from the communities around the world. So the very first question here we have is from Airdrop Earth. Let me read it out loud. As we know, the Sandbox have two native tokens, Sand and Land. We've seen Sand have listing on many exchanges, but about Land, we still have less information. What is the utility of Land, and does Land can be tradable?
That's a great question. I think it's a great starter as well for anyone that's learning Sandbox for the first time. So Sandbox as a gaming virtual world as a map of 166, 464 parcels in total. Each of these parcels is actually an NFT, a non-fungible token called Land. So non-fungible token, as I mentioned before, those are unique kind of tokens that represent digital assets, including game items. Here in our case, lands. Each one is unique, cannot be divided. So you cannot have two lands are technically different if they are located at different location or different metadata. And you cannot divide the land into 0.00001 land in comparison to, like, you can divide Bitcoin or Ethereum up to 18 decimals. Now, lands in Sandbox are one of the primary ways to access the monetization of the platform. So as a game creator, you'll need indeed to own a land parcel in order to publish your game. Or if you don't buy a land NFT, you can also win it by being actively engaged with the community, specifically participating at one of our game jam and winning one of the prizes, or uploading high quality games into the online gallery made with our game maker, where we are like selecting top creators and rewarding them with land as well on a regular basis. So with land, it's essentially the primary way to publish your game and access the monetization in Sand tokens. So you can have players pay to access your game and earn Sand as a way, or if you're not a game creator, you can still rent that land to other game creators, since there's a limited number of lands parcel in total. There will be never ever any more in our virtual world. That's also part of the reason that makes them valuable and more valuable over time. NFTs can actually be traded, not on traditional exchange like Liquid, for example. They can be traded on marketplaces. There's a few marketplaces for NFTs. One of the most known is OpenSea. There's also a Rarible. There's CoinShake in Japan, which has been opening as well its own NFT marketplace. And there you can trade with other users. You can buy any sort of NFTs from many of the blockchain games available, including lands that's not been sold during one of our pre-sale. So we have been releasing progressively more and more lands. Up to date, I think about 40% of the total map has been sold out during pre-sale at specific discount. The rest will be sold out at public price during next year and potentially the year afterwards. So there's already users who bought lands for the first time during our pre-sales event. And now some of them have been reselling them already on those marketplaces like OpenSea.
Perfect. I think that was very straightforward. Yeah, let's go to the next question. The next question is from Trong Denny. Can you list 1, 2, 3 killer features of Sandbox that makes it ahead of its competitors? What is the competitive advantage of your platform that you feel most confident about?
Well, I think like we can summarize some of the key competitive advantage of Sandbox essentially in like the experience and the background from the team in gaming. Like we have assembled a team now. Sandbox team is close to being 100 people. It has grown, but we have really industry veterans, senior people who've been working in gaming industry for 10 years or more. And that includes the background of the founder team. Like as I mentioned before, I've been myself building a game company with a million of players actively and games updated with live ops that's been living for and are growing years after they launched. So that's really one of the core expertise at Sandbox is really the experience all the team has in this specificity gaming to provide experience that will be fun, engaging, and essentially will retain player because it's not just about like getting players to come try for 1 minute and leave forever. Like we want to create a platform where players will be engaged and remain engaged for years in the gameplay, in discovering the content, in participating in the economy, owning NFTs, receiving NFTs as reward, creating content, etc. That's our number one strength. The second strength of the Sandbox project is really we believe we are one of the only virtual world that has given so much importance to IPs and brands. So we, among all the 60 partners, amazing partner of the Sandbox, we can count major brands and IPs such as Atari, Roller Coaster Tycoon, Shaun the Sheep, Care Bears, and more recently announced the Smurf, for which we will have a pre-sale actually happening tomorrow. And we have many other major brands coming up that we will be announcing in 2021. So that's and what do these brands have? Like what are they doing in Sandbox? Well, they have land in Sandbox. So that's the very first important thing. Like every IP, every major brand has a point of presence in our virtual world map, in our metaverse, where players will be able to find the game experience, find social hubs of those IPs. And they can buy lands or just right next to this IP. So I do think it's amazing in a virtual world that your game can be located just right nearby the Atari theme park and players could travel just by walking around the border of the Atari land into your land. Like it's a great way for you to be discovered. The second thing is the fact that every brand and IP comes with content as well, game items available as NFTs as well, that any creator can use to bring into its game experience. So you can create games using characters, your favorite characters from various IPs. And this is all UGC. So you can make all your own adventures, your own stories, your own RPG or platformer or other type of games using characters from Atari retro classic games, from Care Bears, from Smurf, from Shaun the Sheep, and the other upcoming IPs we'll be announcing. That's also super cool. So that's I think one of the great strengths. And then the third strength is really how we're all about the community. Like we are being made by the community. Community has been growing, but we've been bringing artists, we've been bringing creators, we've been bringing landowners, sandholders, etc. all together, people with various backgrounds, not necessarily crypto traders only. Gamers are believing in Sandbox vision, and all together, as we are building this metaverse, as we're putting content, as we have more games that's being built and will be available for playing when we launch, we're essentially sharing the benefits, I would say, or sharing like sharing the fact that as Sandbox grows from the contribution from all the people that are involved in Sandbox, everyone benefits from it. And how to get involved with Sandbox? You can get involved by owning NFTs. You can get involved by owning Sand token, and it's really a community driven, 100% community driven in that sense, which we think is like really groundbreaking, and one of the things that excites me the most every day when I see what the community did in terms of content, how they are even building and creating the games, and And to incentivize the community, we've launched a foundation. That foundation is supporting creators through Creator Fund and Game Maker Fund, which have been paying creators in Sand token to create high quality content. The Game Maker Foundation has already given grants to 17 different projects that you can see on our website and see some teaser, etc. And the Creator Fund for Artists has been giving grants to hundreds of artists who made the model you can see in the shop that game creators can use in the future to create their games themselves as well.
Awesome. Awesome. I think you've listed those one to three killer features of Sand. So that's great. Let's go to the next question. So what this is by Tokenomics 404. What's your plans for global expansion on building and developing or getting customer and user or partnerships for Sandbox projects?
So we do believe that even though Sandbox can be like a mainstream global success, part of our success of our strategy will be to establish like regional communities about Sandbox. First of all, like the primary market of Sandbox is essentially Asia, and more specifically, Korea has been our #1 primary market in terms of like the communities, the landowner, people who participate in pre-sale are key partners there. Then followed by Japan and China, and then Europe and US. So that's been for us really important to build a point of presence, to have full-time community managers and growth manager in Korea, in Japan, in China, in Italy as well is one of our top communities, to grow the community, to have a strategy specifically for those countries and represent users, players, creators from that part of the world. Secondly, we partner also with key industry players in each of these regions. Typically in Japan, by Liquid, with Singapore, Japan, Liquid. We have CoinCheck with as a marketplace. In Korea, we have Clayton as one of our partners, but also SBS Game Academy, Sandbox Network, one of the largest MCN network for like YouTuber streamers. So, SBS Game Academy being one of the top education game making schools. They have like 8 campuses around the country, thousands of students that are learning how to make games with Sandbox among their courses. And that strategy has been working well so far. We also try to make Sand token available across, not of course like the major global exchange, but also regional exchange. So we have Sand listed in India on Wazirix, in Indonesia with Toko Crypto. We just listed on Mycon Max in Taiwan. So trying to really get closer to all those territories where like gamers, creators are, and making Sand token as accessible to them as possible has been strategic. And of course, Liquid was also for us really strategic for the SEA region, Singapore, and looking forward to Japan afterwards.
Perfect. I'm South Korean personally, and I understand the importance of working with the right partners, and those partners that you just mentioned, Clayton or SBS Academy. Those are some of the great names that have that are very reputable in the in the market itself. So that's amazing. That's really good to hear. Let's go to the next question. The next question is from PP Piece. I have read in an article whereby Sandbox emphasis on play to earn model. What is this exactly means? And those who are new to the blockchain games, in layman perspective, how easy is to play and onboard users with zero knowledge on Sandbox platform?
That's a great question. So in the gaming industry, traditionally, you have 2 business models. One is called premium, where, well, you buy a game, it comes in a box or in the digital download, you pay it $40, $50, $60, and that's it. There's no additional purchase, and you play through the whole game, you finish it, and that's done. There's no more content. With mobile game, free to play has been growing as a business model. It means that the game is free to download, but there is additional optional in-app purchase in the game if you want to get more content, advance faster, progress faster, etc. It's really been the dominant business model in the game industry now, which is like over $160 billion revenue a year. This year, it's going to reach that peak, but free to play is essentially supported by only 3% of the players like that are spending. They are spending high amount, whereas the rest of the industry doesn't spend any money. With play to earn, we essentially keep the idea that games can be free to access. You don't need to buy anything, but you can earn actually rewards. You can earn token by playing, because the fact that you play, that you contribute to the game economy loop, and you provide resource, etc., makes that, well, you receive those rewards, and those rewards can be traded with other users who might need them. And so there is an in-game economy that appears where players are exchanging things of value between each other, except that thanks to the use of blockchain technology and NFTs, those things of value, those tokens, they have an actual value. They can be traded on exchanges in the case of Sand tokens. They can be traded on marketplaces in the case of NFTs. Mm-hmm. Some tokens might not be on major exchange, but they can still be on decentralized exchange. And as long as there is a supply and a demand for this resource, there's the possibility for you as a player to earn. So behind that idea, the main, it's really powerful, and it's starting to change lives of people around the world, is basically you can earn a living, you can earn like some revenue, maybe a part of it, but now we're seeing in some countries like Vietnam, Philippines, etc., that people are earning like more than their actual job salary by playing into free-to-play games. Sandbox is not yet offering play-to-earn mechanics fully, like that's something that's coming in 2021, but there are a few blockchain games out there that's already been proving it. What Sandbox does, and I've been hearing users in our community as like how we are already changing people's life, is with the creator fund and the game maker fund and all the game jam and contests, is like people are spending time to create quality content instead of doing their actual job. And the prize they earn by winning all our contests is actually higher than, well, the revenue, the monthly salary or wage they would earn. So it's just fantastic to hear, and even more fantastic that we've been living through a hard time with this pandemic. Yes. Some people lost job, and when they lost job and they had nothing to do at home, but then they found they had talent at creating 3D content, 3D game, and they could win at our contest and use the revenue, the price from those contests as their revenue and main source of income. That's a beautiful, real human story that I wish more and more people will be living through, and that we at Sandbox as a platform will continue to push with the effort of our foundation and the various contests and grants. And it should be as easy as possible for users to be onboarded into the game. We know there could be improvement. We try already to simplify the flow. Like you can create an account on Sandbox without needing any wallet, like just your email or your social account can create a wallet for you. All the tools we are making are easy to download, no programming required, just drag and drop. So that's the proof, like people with no programming background who never made game before, they win at our game jam and they make a living with Sand is probably a great proof of that.
Absolutely. I did not know that before. That's amazing. All right. The next question. This is by Kumar Rohit. What are the new features of Game Maker Alpha that makes it unique? How, for a beginner like me, can I make my own mini game, and what are the requirements?
So we touched a little bit about it right before. Like the Game Maker Alpha is like a PC and Mac software, free, you download, and you can make games with it without any programming knowledge, no code. Basically, there's many assets that comes. Some of them are available for free. Some comes from assets made by artists on the marketplace. all of them, they have behaviors assigned to that. So like if you drag, let's say like a dragon, that dragon already comes with enemy behavior automatically assigned to it. So if you put that dragon and you put your avatar hero, the dragon will automatically start chasing for you and attacking without you made anything. So we are seeing, and then we're creating all those game jam contests where we have a theme. Like last theme was like creating a game with monsters around Halloween. That was back at end of October, and we had people from various backgrounds. It's not their job to make games. They never made game, but they have this sensitivity. Like they place things around and it looks great, and they build very interesting games. They even found mechanics that our own team didn't know was possible to do with the game maker. So they were able to find out, to tweak the different behaviors and components, to combine things, to create new things. And that's really the beauty of user-generated content, like giving tools that turn anyone into a creator and always being surprised with what they come with on a daily basis.
Amazing. Amazing. Let me see. What were the next question? Oh, there you go. All right. So the next question is from Tiwa. How would traveling to a different land or games be like on the Sandbox? And would it be one open world game, or there would be a game browser where we pick where we want to go?
That's a great question. So going back into the idea that Sandbox is a gaming virtual world, it has a map. So each game is actually located on the map. So as a user, you enter by selecting the game you want to play, or it's selecting the map, and you can browse and see all the different game parts. But you cannot enter any game like that. Like you have to go through portals, or you have to move so the portal will take you directly into a world, and then you can play that game, or you can walk around with your avatar to the border, any edges of the world, to actually be transported to the neighbor land on the map. So if two lands are neighbors, that's a way for you to jump from one game to another. It's not a giant open world in the sense like you're not going to see what's happening all the time in real time in every neighbor land. Like that would kill the performance and be unnecessary, specifically as our multiplayer is actually instance based. So there's about 32 players per instance, and then when an instance is filled, there's a new instance spawned for the same world. Little bit like probably if you've been a player yourself, you played games like Counter-Strike or Fortnite, basically, where like there's 64 players, that's it, and then you have to join another server when it's full. And that transportation is already part of the game. Like the part of the game experience is about adventure, discovery. Like there's some lands you cannot enter directly. You need to find the nearby portal and then cross over different lands and game until you reach the one you want. Or the game creator has so there is some gamification related to how close you are to a portal, or you can potentially acquire portals that will be providing as NFTs in the future to make your game more accessible than by walking. There's also the possibility to use that mechanic to let people play a game experience that will be splitted across many lands around the world, making you feel really like an adventurer, where you have to explore like various parts of the total virtual world metaverse to finish an experience and your progression.
Awesome. The next question is indeed very short. It's by Classicalism. When Smurfs?
When Smurf, well, that's super short. So, well, basically, as I mentioned, we have many major IPs and brands as partners. Yep. Smurf is the latest one we've announced, and it's really soon. It's actually tomorrow at 1 p.m. GMT. So Friday, December 11th at 1 p.m. GMT, we are going to open and finish the last pre-sale round of lands at a 10% discount versus the future public price. And there will be a total of 5,518 lands available, out of which 2,400 are premium lands, including 4 Smurf NFTs. 4 Smurf NFT, including one legendary among 14 collector legendary Smurf. So that's the only way for you to acquire those collector digital asset NFTs, Smurf characters, that then once you own them, you can use them to create game experience involving Smurf with the game maker, or you can potentially trade them with other players using marketplaces to complete your collection.
Awesome. All right. So it seems like tomorrow is a big day if anyone wants to get a Smurf.
There will be more Smurf available in the future, but those particular will be only available tomorrow or when you buy them in the premium lands.
Perfect. Good to know. Hopefully this AMA video can go live before tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so, yes.
All right. So the next question is by Longhan Fuk One. I'm particularly impressed with your project, from team dev and strategy to project goal. If I want to apply to become a project ambassador, what requirements should I meet?
So we do have indeed an ambassador program available. It's available into many languages, so you can be an ambassador to represent Sandbox within your local community and help us translate various documents and educate people about NFTs, about virtual world, and about the metaverse and game making with Sandbox. And essentially, on our Medium, you can look for medium.com/sandbox-game, type ambassador, you'll find the article with all the details. As long as you have the motivation and you can show some commitment, like you will continue to help us push, broaden the message, translate article, make maybe new tutorials if you think that's needed, you will be also rewarded for really helping us to grow the Sandbox community around the world.
Perfect. For those who wants to be the Sand ambassador, Sebastian, would you kindly repeat the link again? Oh, and we're going to put that under the subtitle.
I don't have the full link, but it's on our Medium. So medium.com/sandbox-game. And you search for ambassador among all our news and articles there, and you'll find it.
Perfect. Awesome. The next question, Aoming29. Will users be able to create NFTs and use it in the Sandbox metaverse? If yes, what kind of knowledge or skills do I need to have in order to create NFTs or games in Sandbox game?
Right. So we are all about making our tools as easy and accessible to everyone. And it's been 9 years now. I've been working to turn any players into a maker. So logically, Sandbox is an NFT maker, and it is really easy for anyone to make its own NFTs with Sandbox. You just have to download VoxEdit, a 3D software available on our website. It's available on PC and Mac, and you can make 3D models and animate them. You don't even need to know animation. Basically, you use a template and you can paint over, so change the color, draw a little bit the face of the character, animals, or all sort of, there's like dozens of templates available. Publish that on our marketplace, and basically it will become an NFT that you can sell, that you can trade, that you can use with the game maker, etc. I think I already mentioned how easy it is to use the game maker together. Yeah. So that's really the effort of Sandbox we're pushing through, is like making us as accessible as possible to everyone. We are not thinking just crypto users here. We're really thinking the artists of the world, the gamers of the world that maybe just a leisure or hobby, or can turn into their passion into a new job, changing lives of creators and players around the world.
Perfect. I never knew creating NFTs are as easy as like that. All right. Now, the last question for today is by Zinner1 Polka. How can we introduce value in the eyes of the Sandbox in the games that users will create with their products?
That's a great conclusion question. So anyone can make NFT. that's true, but that doesn't mean essentially that any NFT can hold value. So
Mm,
what makes the value of an NFT? Usually there's three factors: the aesthetic, the rarity, and the utility.
mm,
We are, I mentioned like gaming is our background. So we've introduced gamification mechanics on like what NFT you can make. Like all the NFTs are minted with like common, no attribute or low attribute, but then users can use different token called gems and catalysts to upgrade the attributes of those NFTs and make them more powerful, more rare, and potentially more valuable. When you create games that use those NFTs, your game is actually also becoming a showcase of NFTs for other creators, etc. So if you make a game that becomes popular, and in that game you've been using, I don't know, you created enemies, dragons, skeletons, etc. Another creator who will be playing your game and seeing it say, "Oh wow, it's really cool," and I can buy that item as well on the shop of the game creator to use it in my own game as well. That's one of way game creator can monetize, and that's how also you can really leverage the tool and the platform to showcase and promote your NFTs to make them more and more valuable to the eyes of players and creators. They will be also valuable for players as depending on the rarity of the NFTs inside the game, it will provide more rewards for players who win the game. So the more a game contains legendary NFT, the higher that game is going to produce all sorts of rewards for the players. So there's really a connection to the rarity of the asset, their utility in game for both creators and players. That's going to make it really fun and engaging and powerful for players to be engaging with.
well noted. I think that was very straightforward. Okay, great. So I've enjoyed having this talk, and I hope the communities also have learned a lot about what you guys have accomplished and what you guys have on your roadmap and whatnot. Um, Now, before we, I guess, conclude, is there anything else that you would like to share with the communities of yours and ours?
Well, thank you so much, Harvey, for this IMA today. It's been great to share a little bit more about the vision of Sandbox. I'd like to invite you, everyone, to check out sandbox.game, potentially join our community on Discord or Telegram, get to talk with us. Don't be afraid of like, this looks complex, etc. Like the more you learn, the more you feel you'll be interested to jump into our metaverse, to maybe get some land, to maybe become a creator yourself. And like we have a fantastic community that's growing and building Sandbox. So yeah, we're happy to have you join us. Well, thank you, Harvey, for today, IMA.
Awesome. Before we conclude, we also wanted to look at the list of questionnaires and award 5 winners. They're all going to get $200 worth of Send tokens respectively. These winners are Takanomi 404, PP, Kumar Rohit, and Tiwa, and lastly Zinner One Polka, which our marketing team will reach out to you in personal level and let you know how you may retrieve those Send tokens. Thank you so much, everyone, for your participation, and thank you, Sebastian. It's my pleasure, as always. Hey, maybe we can do this again in 6 months when there's some new fresh updates that you would like to share with the community moving forward. But thank you so much, Sebastian. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you in Sandbox.